Painting is a fast, convenient, and cost-effective way to make over your house. A gallon of paint can transform a dark and depressing room into an inviting space for friends and family to gather. With the right tools and knowledge, almost anyone can add personality and color to their home. First, you need to select a paint color. You need to consider what you want to accomplish. Bright colors are good at enhancing areas that don't receive a lot of natural sunlight, or maybe areas that are small spaces like bathrooms. A lot of times people have inspirational pieces. They may like a red pillow, or maybe there's a painting they really like. It's good for some people to take those colors and to put them on their walls. That's a source of inspiration for them. Also, you want to consider what the rest of your house looks like. If most of your rooms are neutral shades, you don't want to paint your kitchen bright orange. You kind of want to have the same flow throughout your house. Also, if you paint loud colors, that can be a turn-off for potential home buyers if you ever decide to sell your house. Next, you want to consider the paint type. First off, there's interior and exterior paint. Exterior is made to withstand the elements, and you'll want to use that if you're painting outside your house. There are many different types of interior paint. There's gloss, which kind of has a shiny finish, and it's easy to use, but it does kind of enhance flaws if there's any nail holes or imperfections in the wall. There's also semi-gloss, which is a step down. It still kind of has a sheen, but it doesn't really emphasize flaws or any holes in the walls you might have. There's also flat paint, which is my favorite because it doesn't have a lot of shine, but it's really easy to work with, and it doesn't show brush strokes. And there's also satin, which kind of has a smooth finish as well. Next, you need to get your supplies. First, you'll have to start off with a roller, such as this one, and a roller brush. These there's soft, there's textured versions. It really depends on what kind of finish you want on your wall. You'll also need a bristle brush, such as this one, painter's tape. Painter's tape you will tape around the walls, spackling paste, a damp cloth to wipe up stains with, or if you spill any paint, and good lighting is really important. You don't want to paint in the dark because you might mess up, and it takes a lot more time to correct your mistakes than it does to prevent them. Next, you need to prepare your area. You want to make sure you take down any pictures and nails. So I'm going to ignore this one for now because I don't have a hammer. It makes it easier to paint and kind of protects those things from getting paint on them. Then you want to make sure there's no wallpaper, chipped wallpaper, peeling paint, dirt, or anything on the walls. You need to start with a smooth, clean surface. Sometimes it's helpful to use a damp cloth to kind of go over the walls and remove any light dust that may have accumulated there. You also want to cover your floor. This is very important because a lot of people drip paint, and if you use newspaper or old sheets, maybe even some inexpensive drop cloths, that can really protect your floors when you're painting, especially if you're painting ceilings. After you have your floor coverings, you want to spackle any nail holes. Spackling is kind of a white paste. You can either use a putty knife to apply it to larger holes, or I find it easier to just get a dab on your finger and place in any holes that you may have. You want to let that dry thoroughly and then sand it down so that it's smooth with the wall. After that, you want to tape over your windows, electrical fixtures, and doorways, kind of like I have done right here. You want to do this all around the borders so that you don't get any paint on woodwork. Ventilation is very important when painting. Paint has a lot of fumes, and if you open windows and turn on fans, it will prevent you from getting headaches and getting sick. Before you start painting, you want to get your gallon of paint. You'll probably have to use kind of a screwdriver or a big knife to pry open the can. Usually when you buy your paint, they give you a stir stick. You want to use this and mix the paint up really well. Sometimes the colors settle at the surface, and you want the paint to be thoroughly mixed so that it applies easily to the wall. After that, you want to pour a little bit of paint into your paint tray. I'm just going to demonstrate now. I'm not really going to pour the paint. You only want to fill it about maybe 1/4 of the gallon of paint. You don't want to pour the whole thing in here because you won't have any room to kind of brush your roller brush off on. And you want to also paint around the trim, which this is imaginary paint. You're just going to be really careful because even though you have this tape up, it's still really easy to make mistakes. If you do make a mistake, don't panic. Just take your damp cloth and really gently clean up the mess. After you have all of your trim done, you want to take your roller and act like this, kind of dip it in the paint and roll the roller to really coat that evenly with the paint. This also prevents any dripping and gets the extra paint off so that you don't spill any. After you have your paint evenly on the roller, you want to paint in a V shape. This will ensure that you get more even coverage and also helps prevent dripping on the floor. If you do this right, you'll probably only need 1 coat of paint. If you just go up and down, you'll leave lines, and that really doesn't look really neat or professional. After that, you want to let the paint dry, which will probably be a couple hours depending on how humid it is. When you're done painting, you want to gather up any brushes you have and wash them off, preferably outside so that you don't get paint in your sink. You'll want to let these dry so that you can use them later. If you have any paint left in the tray, you will want to pour that back into the bucket or the can of paint. It's a good idea to save the paint because even though you're done with it now and everything looks good, someone might make a scratch on the wall or there may be a stain later down the road and you'll want to patch over that. And you want to store this in a dry, cool area such as in your garage. When you're done with that, you'll pick up and throw away your drop cloths, and you'll also take off the trim. From start to finish, painting should take about a day, but the results will last for years. Nothing uplifts the house like a fresh coat of paint. With the right tools and knowledge, anyone can add personality and color to their house. Thank you.